as your legislator and cut waste. Vote no on this bill.
Speaker, members, I will officially say I just took my first whooping in the House of Representatives. I mean, you guys have beat me to death and called me everything under the sun about wanting to raise taxes.
That's right.
And overturn the will of the people.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Once again, 3D Politics live right here on Facebook, 7 p.m.-ish. We just worked through John Bennett. What a great interview, Van. Nice to set that up for us, and I appreciate John Bennett coming out. What a resume. Here's a guy who's really, there's the spine of America. You never met him. People like him out there all over America doing it right. And, of course, anybody who doesn't want the job is the man for the job.
That's right.
So we are getting ready to move into the Bad Bill Hall of Shame nominees, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Bad Bill Hall of Shame. And you want to set this up, and then I'll tell you, Van, tell us about what is the Bad Bill Hall of Shame, and I've got a couple of that I know of.
Man. It's something I kind of look forward to every January once they get done filing the bills. And then we got about 2 weeks before they get to the Capitol to try to sell us this crazy batch of crap, and we get to pick it apart. And yeah, we have a little bit of fun with it. And I plan on having some fun tonight. So, yeah. I've got a few things I want to go through tonight. Oldham, you've looked at some of them too. What stands out for you?
Well, I haven't actually had a chance to look at as many as you might think. The thing that I'm seeing is we still need to teach people the Constitution because they still want to invade our space and try to tell us what to do, the nanny state stuff. I don't want to get into specifics at this point, but because you're going to point out the biggies.
You ready for some?
Yeah. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's show people what we're talking about.
All right. Let me pull this up here. We're going to share a screen, and I'm taking this from Sooner Politics. We're actually going to be looking at the legislative update screen, and let's take a look at this now. Here's a guy, Shane Jett. Now, Shane used to be a state rep about 8-10 years ago, and he got out to go do some work, I guess is for one of the tribes, and now he decides he wants back in. So now he's a senator, don't you know? And he had 35 bills he filed, 35, and among them is this one. He's got to stomp out this growing problem of cannibalism, and he wrote it in such a horrible way that, Tom, when it's cold and flu season, I go like that in the swallow.
Oh, now
that's 14 years, I'll have you know.
I can't believe you said that.
Because that mucous membrane is a bodily tissue. Or, Tom, when you flossed, and you don't floss often enough and it bleeds and you swallow, 14 years.
I should probably wait to make my point so it's not so abrasive.
So now, is this self-cannibalization or
he makes no distinction? No distinction.
So I actually now I'm interested.
Yeah.
So you're telling me I was bored until now. So is cannibalism? I actually would have to look it up. Cannibalism, I thought, was eating the dead. So you're not. So I guess if you had someone that you could clip flesh off of that didn't die.
If you chew your fingernails and swallow, Tom.
Cannibalism, yes.
Yeah.
Is cannibalism really defined as ingesting any flesh whatsoever, or is it ingesting the flesh of the dead, would be my question.
In the way that matters, which is the statutory code that he's writing the legal definition as far as Oklahoma is concerned, he makes no distinction.
Okay, let me read that to you.
This is the problem I have.
So let me read that to you from the article of Sooner Politics. New cannibalism bill makes chewing fingernails a felony from 1/21 2021, this year, from that language of state, that is S. Bill 740. Quote, any person who willingly ingests the flesh, blood, or tissue of a human being is guilty of cannibalism. Any person convicted of cannibalism shall be guilty of a felony punishable by imprisonment in the custody of the Department of Corrections for a term not to exceed 14 years. This act shall become effective November 1, 2021. So my question is, according to the Catholic faith, in all seriousness, according to the Catholic faith, when I take the wafer, what is it?
Yeah. The body and blood of our Lord, the body of Christ.
Okay, so is it the body of Christ? And is it the flesh of Christ? Technically, I would get out of it by saying that it becomes it. Because it's not it when I eat it. Right?
But it would
Or
be
is it?
your own conscience that would be convicting you, because to you it's the body of Christ, the flesh of Christ. Somebody else it might not be, but that's the problem with these things.
Tom.
Isn't he writing? I'm sorry, but isn't he? He's in my religion now. Let's get the state out of my religion. Why is he defining when I get to eat flesh or not? It's really none of his business, is it?
Yeah. I know.
Well, the thing is that what, again, it's so poorly written because it doesn't come from a constitutional perspective.
Right.
The question is, what harm has been done that is now, because you've already got laws that cover this. Desecration of a corpse covers it, if nothing else.
Right.
And along with murder, if you're actually murdering somebody, but the desecration of a corpse would cover it. So why do we need all this extra? And that we're going to ask you. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So we spent more time on that than I thought we would, and there's more to come.
That means, hey, Van, that means it was some good juicy stuff.
Here's the next one. Carol Bush. She's from Tulsa, just up the road from me.
Yeah.
And she's decided that you can actually go after somebody in criminal law, cite them for harassment and invasion of privacy.
Yes.
If they publish something about you on social media, which, quote, serves no legitimate good.
Now, Van, this does not have to happen on social media. This has happened to me in the kitchen with my wife when I will say something that has zero, what was it? She said something about my words were not legitimately plausible or something. I don't know.
Have no legitimate purpose.
No, that's right. That's what she said to me. I blocked it out. She said, Tom, your words have no legitimate purpose. Go pick up the kids. So, isn't this what she's saying, Van? And how can you really argue with her?
Oh, God, yeah.
No, that's not the answer. Oh my God.
Well,
this is what you say.
Actually,
you're supposed to say no.
Actually, Carol Bush has good reason to think that this law is somewhat legitimate, because this is almost verbatim the Sedition Act of 1798. Because they did the same thing. If you were attacking and they judged that it didn't serve a legitimate purpose, to paraphrase, then they would bring you up on charges. And they were the deciders of that, not that there was harm caused or something like that. So there's no objective standard. It's all subjective, and that's always...
They are trying to teach manners using the criminal code. That's the problem.
Right.
Virtue is important, manners are important, social skills are important, but you do not fall back on the criminal code.
Correct.
Now, don't hook me into a discussion of ethics. I did that whole thing before where you chase them through the boxes of ethics, because when they say do the right thing, the question becomes do the right thing according to what ethics system. But that's a whole nother thing. From the article, Sooner Politics, January 21 this year, new bill strips First Amendment rights if words have no legitimate purpose. Now, Van, I think you thought we were done, but I'm not.
I'm sorry.
I actually read this article from Sooner Politics, and that is where you get all the information on about state politics. We're lucky to have him here. A new law, a new section of law to be codified reads as follows. This is all about Carol Bush's routine. She says, and I have questions about this. There shall be a rebuttable presumption that that's the one I tried to use with my wife. I was like, I should have a rebuttable presumption. She's like, shut up. You don't even know what that means. And I was like, damn it. You're right. So anyway, Carol Bush, she says, there shall be a rebuttable presumption that a statement appearing on social media, posting, or other electronic communication attributed to a person testifying is the statement of that individual. This presumption may be rebutted by a credible denial under oath. That is kind of like my wife saying, oh, yeah, you and I disagree. So if you'll step into a court of law and commit perjury. I mean, it's like, what do you mean? So I can rebut it? So what she's saying is, we'll presume you're telling the truth unless you deny it under oath. Is that what she's saying?
I think so.
Am I the only one interested in this bit? Because there's more. Oldham, what do you got?
No, keep going because I have to think about your point that you brought up.
I'm reading literally from the Sooner Politics article when it quotes literally her idea of a new section of law. I'll read it one more time, and then there's more. There shall be, because she's tying it into the Domestic Abuse Reporting Act, which puts it in my living room. Shall I say? Because sometimes my wife's got a great left hook. What I'm saying is she's literally inviting herself into everyone's living room.
Sure.
With this, when you say domestic abuse, you're like, to the home. So her words are, there shall be a rebuttable presumption that a statement appearing on social media posting or other electronic communication attributed to a person testifying is the statement of that individual. This presumption may be rebutted by a credible denial under oath.
So in other words, the claim of the plaintiff, the complainant, that you made a statement is to be assumed to be true unless you can prove otherwise.
Yeah.
Gosh,
and the problem there is that you're being brought up on something that may be bogus, but they're assuming that the charge is true rather than having it the other way around.
Okay.
Van.
So here's what she's doing, though, because she has two parts to this. Either what you say is false, or it may be true, but it's private and there was no legitimate purpose in it. Okay. So here's what I'm getting at.
Social media.
Okay. Here's what I'm getting at. Please let me make the point. If it's false, that's historically been rectified in civil courts by suing somebody for damaging. She's taking a civil damaging, making it a criminal punishment. And so we have gone way too far when we're taking it out of the civil courts and putting it in criminal.
Let's take her face off there, Van.
Absolutely.
Because I can't see enough of me.
Okay.
So, but to the point though, here she is suggesting that you. I've lost my. So she defines dating relationship somehow. This is the other part that hooks me. She says dating relationship means intimate association primarily characterized by affectionate or sexual involvement. For purposes of this act, a casual acquaintance or ordinary fraternization between persons in a business or social context should not constitute a dating relationship. I heard the intercom whistle. What that means is you're listening to the amazing Tommy Mckay, your fine host, verbal Viking and plunderer of all conversations, along with the creator and editor of Sooner Politics, David Van, and founder, scholar at Constitutional Grounds, David Oldham. We got more coming up. We're going to bring Lori Gracey in, Lori Gracey Oldham. Now these days, I'm not sure what she goes by, but that's my pronoun for tonight. But anyway, here we are moving on with this Representative Carol Bush talking about the new law. Dating relationship means so intimate association primarily characterized by affectionate or sexual involvement. Now, let's just take the genders, split them apart a little bit. We won't go too long on this. 7:45. Men and women think differently, largely because of firmware, not because of construction by the paternal or maternal society. That is, they prove with science that women think differently and men think differently according to frontal lobe, etc. So when you say intimate association, that certainly means a couple of different things, primarily characterized by affectionate, which could mean a lot of things, or sexual involvement.
Yeah. But let me give you some deep background, because remember, and I've got a blog called It's Still the Law in Oklahoma, which shows all of these archaic laws. They don't enforce, but they're still on the books. And one of them is this: it is a misdemeanor to impugn the chastity of a woman in Oklahoma. That's still on the books. Now, what Carol's doing here is akin to that, because they're saying, you know, you call a girl a slut, she may very well be, but it's private and it serves no legitimate purpose to do that. Therefore, it's a crime.
And
so she's pretty.
It makes a legitimate purpose. She just doesn't like it.
Well, yeah, it serves a legitimate purpose, as I've said before in talking about G.T. Bynum. If you cannot shame a slut, who can you shame? Isn't that simple?
So, yeah, I'm just saying, Carol is trying to go back to that archaic law. Essentially, it's the net outcome.
Well, so what I'm saying is a sexual involvement. So sexual involvement, dating relationship means sexual involvement. Since when did dating mean intimate association characterized by affection?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what I'm saying is, if from the male standpoint, if I am dating a woman, that does not mean I am her associate.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
That means we are having what we call sex.
Well,
so, I mean,
not everybody does that.
Yeah.
Not to that degree in the dating process. There are some who still believe in traditional dating and not going
okay.
Okay. So Tom, I've got three more stories we aren't going to be able to get into.
We're going to move on. But I think Oldham has fixed my problem there, and this is the problem with her legislation, is that it bridges that gap in between, you know, just because we're affectionate, or so she conflates affectionate dating with sexual dating, and that's her problem. Next. Oldham, you fixed it for me. Good job.
Let's just tell people where they can find. There's a bunch more juicy ones. It's Soonerpolitics.org. Click on the legislative watch, because we've got a Bigfoot hunting season that's being proposed in Southeast Oklahoma.
Right.
And we've got more giving away your money to people for not working. And they can even collect this money while they go work another job, unlike unemployment, where, you know, once you get another job, you quit collecting. So it's all on there, and Shane Jett gets another mention on there.
Yeah, I'm loving the fact that just a couple of these stories from Soonerpolitics.org, and we can't quit talking about it.
No,
because I want to do a thing where we're also hunting the golden goose. I don't want to kill it. I just want to have a hunting season. So we got Lori Gracey Oldham waiting to talk about.
Yeah, why don't we
everything is crushing down. The COVID collapse is something where I don't want to miss it. And so let's talk quickly about the COVID collapse before we bring in the story about the city council in Broken Arrow. And then Lori Gracey Oldham, Oldham, let her know that she's 5 minutes.
Yeah, not even
5 minutes. Okay.
So, just want to say,
COVID collapse. This is COVID collapse, ladies and gentlemen. COVID collapse.
Gotcha. As is my pattern, every Sunday night, I review over the weekend and publish about the numbers, and the numbers are looking incredible. Tom, do you know last Friday we had the least number of new COVID cases confirmed that we've had since June 7th. It is that low. So I published something. This time Stitt didn't repost mine. He just wrote his own article, said essentially the same thing.
But wait, he's posted your articles a couple times, right?
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about that real quick.
Right. And now what he's doing, because he's like me, he's like, you know what? The corporate media doesn't want us actually. Now, what was that? Okay, that's Oldham getting something ready.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You're
About
not.
that?
Let me finish it.
Yes,
So,
Scotty, what happened? All right.
So yeah, Stitt's just taking my stuff. So thank you, Governor Stitt, for reading my paper every day or every week. And so yeah, the corporate media is not telling the good news. They are keeping us focused on the bad news, because when we're worried, we keep watching the news instead of enjoying our life. And then the health department only wants to tell us bad news because that gives them more control, because then we hand over our rights and live the way they tell us to live. Right? And
So more good news over at soonerpolitics.org, where you can find the collapse of the COVID numbers,
Yeah.
and the really great news that Governor Stitt has retweeted or reposted a couple of the articles that Van has written on Sooner Politics. Sooner Politics is the one place to go to find out your information about state political issues. If you want to learn about the history of Oklahoma, you can. Michael Bates, when I ran for mayor, Michael Bates had all the info of all the things you ever want to know about past issues. David Van has his finger on the pulse of all the content in the state. And of course, Oldham over there, constitutionalgrounds.com, has the information about the feds and the Constitution. But so the point is, COVID numbers are low. Local media continues to chide Stitt for not doing the right thing, which we already have done the right thing.
And this was how bad it was. I was on one of the, I think it was Channel 2 this morning, and on their website, and they had two competing headlines next to each other. One was crying all the new bad, bad, and the other one was saying it's all better now. We're good. And it's like, which way do you go? And they've got them right next to each other, so they're shameless about it.
Yeah, selective outrage, selective enforcement of law, selective perception. We're getting ready to bring Lori. Is that it? Yeah, because the Broken Arrow. So Oldham, the Broken Arrow City Council passed on passing the mask mandate. Let's talk about it.
Well, the Broken Arrow City Council last week met and decided in a 2-2 vote to not pass the mask mandate, or I should say, they did not even make a motion to bring the mandate forward because there was so much
unanimous.
It was just never going to happen. And then they passed by 2-2 vote to not do a resolution. So it basically was 2 wanted a resolution and 2 didn't. And in that whole process, several of us got up to speak, and we have Lori here because Lori had an awesome presentation, and I'm going to play all 3 minutes of it.
All right, hold on. Now, I gotta say here, I don't know how did Lori get in here? How did Lori get in here?
You let her in.
No, Van.
I had to take a break. I had to take a break from my Bigfoot hunting, but he doesn't have to wear a mask anymore. He said he'd show up too.
Can we just pretend? Because I had all this planned for like 3 months ago. Now Van has totally just humiliated me in front of everyone. So here it is. Let's pretend nobody knows Lori's here yet, because I've got to bring her in with the appropriate.
I'm sorry.
Welcome, please, ladies and gentlemen, as I beam her in from we don't know where.
Yep.
As Tom gets off on the sound effects. Lori Gracey Oldham. There you go. Wow, you were here faster than I thought because I barely got the sound effect in. So here you are, Lori. And so with the whole new thing, because I know you from when you weren't, now you are. I knew him before they were, and here we are. And so my question for you, what's your pronoun? Do I call you Lori Gracey Oldham?
Sketch comedian.
What do I call you? Miss Lori?
Miss Lori.
Anyway, fact is, you were totally disrespected by the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce. Is that correct?
They certainly misunderstood what I was saying. And if they're going to stand by what they said, then they're standing on the side of discrimination.
All right. We're just 4 minutes from turning around to the top of the hour again. So let's set this up and we'll get into it right here, right after the setup. So tell us about what happened and then what we're going to see later.
So City Council is meeting again to discuss the mandate. Do we do a mandate? Do we do a resolution? Blah, blah, blah. Same song, 15th verse, right?
Right.
And so I had an idea. I thought, well, we can give presentations. We don't just have to stand up and speak. I'll throw together a little PowerPoint. So I did. And I think David's going to play it after a bit here. And it made the point that the path to tyranny is very slippery. And it starts with something very innocuous.
Right.
If we're not careful, something as simple as wearing a mask is going to bring about the discrimination and oppression that the badges in Nazi Germany brought about for not just the Jewish people, but other people groups who are also marginalized, the Gypsies, homosexuals. And we don't want kind of marginalization here or discrimination. So let her run. Let's go.
Here she is.
Good evening, and thank you for all of your patience in staying so late.
Can you guys hear us?
I appreciate that very much.
Yes.
Prepared a very brief presentation. We'll go ahead and play that now. I'll narrate. It's just a mask. Is that so much to ask? It's just a mask. It's not about you. It's just a mask. It's the least you can do. It's just a mask. Here are some choices. It's just a mask. We won't silence your voices. You can trust us. It's good for you. Just do what we say, not what we do.
Ooh.
It's one rule for us, another for you. It's a mask or a badge. There will be no abuses. It's a badge. You have no excuses. It's a mask. It's a badge. Do you see the connection? It's a badge. It's a mask. It's for your protection. It's just a badge. What's the big deal? It's just a badge. It's a mask. Come on, man, get real. It's a badge or a mask, so where's the harm? It's a badge, it's a mask, now give us your arm. It's just a mask. But what's yet to come?
Fighting words.
And I ended with where there is no choice, there is no freedom. And that's what I essentially started with. That's how I started my remarks with, and that's what I finished my remarks with. And to that, they took exception.
Well, no wonder, because it had great impact. We can't have that at a meeting like this. Lori, that was beautiful. I appreciate that.
Very well done.
For those that don't know the story, after the meeting and after we all said our piece, 3 days later, because this was on Tuesday, on Friday, the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce, president and CEO, in the name of the board, along with herself, came out and attacked Lori for that presentation.
Wow.
They said it was offensive to the Jewish community, so they're speaking for the Jewish community, and said some other things. And I forgot to pull up that article. But if you go to my Facebook page or Constitutional Grounds Facebook page, we have all of that information so that you can see it. But that's why we have Lori here, because she has been attacked and has had the media calling and basically questioning her on this. You've gotten what, calls from a bunch of different media sources, right?
Hey, before you tell us, hang on. We're getting ready to reset at the top of the hour. You're listening once again to 3D Politics with your fine host, Tommy Mckay, the Verbal Viking, along with David Oldham and David Van, and tonight's special guest star, Lori Gracey Oldham. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 3D Politics, winding up for another hour at the top. Just like that, the American Constitutional Republic, the affairs of state in Oklahoma, the beliefs, principles, opinions, and views of people just like you. This is 3D Politics. Oh, yeah, creator and editor of Sooner Politics, expert Oklahoma State government, professional advocate for mental health care, state committeeman for the Tulsa County GOP, David Van, and of course, founder and scholar at Constitutional Grounds, political leader, educational speaker, former state Oklahoma elector for the United States Electoral College, David Oldham. Tonight's also special guest, Lori Gracey Oldham, recently under attack by the Chamber of Commerce for her impactful statements at the city council meeting. I appreciate everybody for being here once again. 3D Politics, another fantastic show. Earlier tonight, of course, we were graced with John Bennett. I really had no, as I always, that way I start, but wow, he's got a resume. So here's a guy that's really stood in the trenches, and now he's running because somebody has to, and here's a guy I really could get behind. So anyway, Lori Gracey Oldham, I appreciate you being here, and of course the Davids. We're talking about the Chamber of Commerce who attacked Lori for that amazing presentation she had. And so what has been going on, Lori? They continuing to come after you? What's going on?
Well, I pulled up the response from the chambers. It's very brief. Let me go ahead and read it for you so we can add that to the discussion. This is from Jennifer Conway, President and CEO of the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce. And on this past Friday, she wrote, the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce would like to address the video that was shown by an individual exercising their First Amendment right at the City Council session on Tuesday evening during the public comment session. I, Jennifer Conway, and the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors must state that it is abhorrent to compare the concerns of wearing a mask with the atrocities experienced by the Jewish people during the Holocaust. The presentation was an inappropriate comparison and is not representation of the hearts and beliefs of the Broken Arrow community, nor the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce. And I have to say, I agree with her. The values of oppression that occurred during Nazi Germany under the Third Reich are not the values of the people of Broken Arrow, Green Country, Oklahoma, and hopefully of America at large. But she missed that point, and now she's castigating the presentation that speaks against that level of oppression, and she's renouncing me for giving that presentation to fight this type of discrimination.
Van, what do you got?
Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive into how a Chamber of Commerce works. We all think that their existence is to boost commerce in the business community and the quality of life in the community. I hate to break it to you, but that's not how they operate anymore. In Tulsa, city of Tulsa, I'll tell you what they do is they get paid a huge grant from the city council out of our city budget. And then they get to do things that are off budget for the city, like flying the city council members around on junkets and going to fancy things that, if it was actually city money, then we'd say, whoa, this is a little bit extravagant, but it's money laundering. And they operate to be the henchmen and to do the dirty work for the council many times in the mayor's office.
Right.
I'm going to throw it down right here, right now. Chamber of Commerce, Broken Arrow, you've gone out of your lane. You're no longer about boosting the city's business commerce here. You're about shutting it down.
Yeah, sheep will be sheep. They're going to follow which way the herd goes. Right now, everybody is working to normalize the existence of the surveillance state. Right? They're saying, oh, you're going to walk by a dog that it doesn't even have to sniff you. All you have to do is walk by, just normalizing the fact they're going to have dogs at the stadium at the Heat basketball games. All you got to do is just walk past the dog, and people are like, I don't want a dog sniffing me. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, the dog doesn't sniff you. We're just going to have him there, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, we're just going to normalize having the dogs there. Because when we do say we're going to have them sniff you, they'll say, well, the dog's already there.
Yeah.
So they're just normalizing. Yes, Van, what do you
I
got?
got another rant. This will be shorter. Because I'm old, I've got gray hair. I can tell you this. In my childhood, I had the opportunity to hear from survivors of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I've heard in several of their speeches were these two words: never forget. Never forget. What Lori's doing is a tribute and an honor to the memories of so many people for whom this kind of tyranny started with a little yellow badge.
Right.
Thank you.
It's just a badge. I mean, it's just a badge.
And David, that was exactly the point of this. I've been to the Holocaust museums here in the U.S. I've been to Dachau in Germany. I've been to Yad Vashem. I have been to Theresienstadt in the Czech Republic, where it was one of the camps where they staged it for the Red Cross. The Nazis staged it for the Red Cross. See, there's nothing bad going on here. And if someone had stood up and spoken for those people at that time and said, no, we're not going to make them wear a badge. No, we're not going to make them put a sign in their window and to set them apart from everybody else. We're going to stand for them and their rights to be free, to exercise their rights, to run their businesses, to have their families. We're going to stand for them, and we're not going to stand for this nonsense, this tyranny. That's what we needed back then, and by God, that's what I'm going to do now.
Wear that indictment as a badge of honor, Lori.
Right.
You earned it. Congratulations.
Peached twice, Lori. Way to go. You know, before I forget it, Oldham, I want you to have a chance, but I'm going to forget this real quick if I don't say it. What they're trying to do is limit Lori's ability to make a connection between their bad behavior.
Yeah,
And one of the ways that they also do it is through the use of this labeling of a conspiracy theorist. And what you find out is that the minute you begin to identify accurately all of the different areas that the totalitarian regime infringes on your life, and you begin to list them off, people say, oh my God, well, you're a conspiratorial theorist because you act like they're affecting every level of your life. But the fact is that the laws that they pass are so vague and so selectively and arbitrarily enforced, they literally are infringing on every single area of your life. And so the minute you begin to point out, well, not only in the schools, but also at the state legislature and at the DMV and also here and also here and also, well, you're crazy, man. You think they're coming out to get you from every angle. And the fact is, I'm not crazy. They are literally coming out to get me from every angle. It's called a heightened sense of awareness. It's not paranoia. It's called a heightened sense of awareness. Somebody say,
Tom, I've got my roll of aluminum foil out.
yeah. I need 2 rolls.
I can pick you up.
Yeah, oh baby, I need it. Yeah. So anyway, save me, because the fact is, they do literally. I mean, so I heard a thing on the news where they were talking about how many hours of something happened online, and that was enough time to get you to Venus or something. And I was saying, out of context, that amount of time doesn't take into consideration how long it would take to build the rocket and to figure out how long it would take to be a rocket ship owner. So when I size a ring as a professional jeweler and I make $50, they're like, oh, that only took you 15 minutes, No, it took me 35 years and 15 minutes. What do you mean? Out of context. Everything is out of context. Everything is out of context. Yes, man.
Tom, I'm going to borrow from some of Lori's narrative here about what went on in Europe. There's a term called cognitive dissonance, okay?
Yes.
And this is what's going on when you show people, like Oldham's saying here, about all the ways in which we are being oppressed by a totalitarian and increasingly totalitarian government. What happened in Germany after the battle ceased, the occupying forces then forcibly made the German citizens go out and tour and see the dead bodies, right? Isn't that right, Lori?
Right, that's right.
And because they were in denial, they didn't want to believe it.
Well, they didn't believe.
didn't
They
wanna
thought it was
look at
fake news. Yeah.
There are stories of communities where the train transports with these Jewish prisoners and other prisoners are being taken to the camps, where they were crying out so loudly from their train cars and going by
Right.
churches on Sundays, and the congregations could hear them. So you know what the response was of some of those congregations? Let's sing louder, play the organ louder. We have to drown it out. We cannot, we won't listen to it. We can't believe that this is happening. And that's why today, because we can never forget and never again, today we have to listen. We have to see what's happening. We have to stand up now before we're clear down the road. That's what I don't understand. These things don't happen with overnight you've got a concentration camp. They don't happen with overnight you lose your business. They start with comply here. It's a little thing. It's just a mess. But pretty soon it's not just a mess. The Chamber of Commerce, actually, I don't know if they've decided to not pursue this, but at one point they had put out to chamber members, I saw it on their website, they were going to do a campaign promoting all of the Broken Arrow businesses that had mask policies in place, which is a de facto discrimination against those who
Absolutely.
don't require a mask.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't that kind of remind you of in Germany when they were going and painting gold stars on the doors and Juda on the doors and windows of German-owned businesses? Now,
Sure.
it's kind of flip-flop. Instead of don't patronize these businesses, they're saying patronize the ones who are compliant, the sheeple
Sure.
businesses that go along.
Yeah.
And by doing that, they're saying don't go over these nasty, as Oldham's always saying, this group of vermin who won't wear a mask. So the Chamber of Commerce is complicit in this twice. We're trying to put masks on people and trying to put signs in their windows. And if that doesn't look like Nazi Germany to somebody else, then they need to go read the history.
It's pro-discrimination instead of discrimination.
Good way to put it.
Yeah,
And
Matt.
it's
Lori,
still
that's-
discrimination because they want to turn anybody who isn't compliant away. And in fact, we've just got news that there's another fight coming up. I mentioned it earlier. Jinx has a fight on Wednesday evening. I believe it's at 6 o'clock, downtown Jinx. They are only going to allow people in and to speak who are willing to wear a mask. So only the compliant, only the supplicants, only those who will bow the knee will get a chance to actually speak their piece at the meeting.
That's a violation of your constitutional right to redress a grievance.
But the problem here, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is no controlling authority that can do anything about it. We have military takeover at the Capitol right now after the pretense of an insurrection. We literally have an insurrection. They didn't allow us to have Easter, and everybody now is like, hey man, that's against my rights and stuff. You're like, dude, we lost this in Easter a year ago. We're going to have to regroup, go underground, start passing secret notes because we are screwed. Okay? That's the optimistic Nietzsche outlook for tonight.
Yeah.
Somebody pull me out of the hole, please.
Well, actually, one of the things that I think you take away from this is that people are tiring of the level of tyranny. And it's still nothing like China and other places, but they are tiring of it and the numbers are growing. And pretty quick, we will have people who will be at city council meetings and will be turning tables over and things like that when these people do not behave appropriately.
I wish I could get into that optimism, but I think they're ready to put out 75 million fires. Tommy Mckay here, your verbal Viking with David Oldham and David Van, graced tonight by Lori Gracey, the beautiful co-host this evening, and braver than brave out there standing in front of the city council in Broken Arrow, bringing them a stiff message about reality. And wow, do they wish they could forget, but they just can't. And nobody, it's amazing how they can make the analogy of how insane I am by putting the dots together about how the totalitarians are coming out to get me. But they're so vague, they can't see the analogy that Lori Gracey Oldham's putting together between make me wear a badge, make me wear a mask. It's the same thing. Put a little mark on me.
Well, let's also understand, Lori pointed it out already. And it is the whole la, 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 and they're just doing it with argument.
Yeah.
And I
Ad
nailed it.
hominem attacks on Lori.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I nailed the gal down today who, on the article that I wrote on my own Facebook page, you can go read it.
Yeah.
And she said, it's opinion. And fine, thanks for admitting
It's
it.
an opinion without context. Oldham, tell them where they can find that article at constitutionalgrounds.com.
I think it's on my personal Facebook page. So David Oldham, spelled Oldham, and you can find it right there at the top. And read the comments. See, join in. It's, you know, the water's fine, and these people act like they're all bullies, but they're not. I mean,
Water is
stop
not
it.
fine. That is a damn lie. But will can you they find out more about you where, David Oldham? Where's the best place to find out?
Facebook on Constitutional Grounds, or David Oldham, or constitutionalgrounds.com, where the Constitution is on the front page.
And,
Okay.
and Tom,
Yes, sir.
David is now a featured columnist in Sooner Politics in our state analyst. So I've got a
Very good.
page
There you
devoted to
go.
his blog posts. And David, you've written a couple good ones recently too. I just want to say I'm up to speed. So
That's great.
hey, Tom, when I talk about the weekend event, keep Lori in here for it, okay?
Okay, yes, let's do it.
All right, guys, I'm just going to go.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
Because I didn't talk to you about this already, honey. I meant to, but we were busy earlier.
You guys, no kissy on the show.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, so before you don't tell me and not leave her out, you're getting ready to talk about what, David?
We've got an event this Friday night. Of course, our featured guest last week was none other than Frank Urbanek. He's coming to town Friday night. He'll be at PJ's. And Lori, you were there with us. Is it a decent place, or is it kind of a greasy dive? What do you think?
PJ's is the place to be. David and I were there the night that they opened up after the big lockdown of the businesses, and it was happening. It's a fun place.
Good. Let me put the poster up real quick so you see it. Friday night. Now it's 9 o'clock. So even if you got to work the late shift down at whatever, at the mall, you can still come on out. Frank's going to be there. They're going to have music. I talked to the management today. Now, if you got a big group coming, they say call ahead, okay? So they can plan for you and get you seated. Good. But it's going to be great. I just wanted to let you guys know. PJ's is putting it on. And I told him, I said, we'll pitch it. Why? Because this guy's a freaking hero. That's why.
Wow. And whoa. Travis Kidd?
Yeah.
Travis Kidd? Well, I'm going.
There you go.
Insane. I didn't know Travis Kidd.
He puts out good music.
Are you kidding me? This guy is great. I used to work at the casino out there shining shoes. And this guy, he can play, no doubt about it. He's great.
Friday night, 9 o'clock to midnight. And seriously, you got to be there, guys.
Is this you guys joking? So this is a PJ.
PJ's 101st and Mingo, kind of on the border with Broken Arrow and Bixby. Yep.
Yes, PJ's Barn Grill, 9999 out there in Mingo. And my son and I went and watched the McGregor fight. An American one. It's the greatest thing.
Right.
It's the greatest thing in America.
But here's the thing. I'm telling you, and by the way, congratulations, Lori, David, and all you people out in Broken Arrow who showed up in big numbers, because it was overwhelming. David, you got to admit that was refreshing, wasn't it?
Oh, it was extremely refreshing.
Yeah.
The beauty is and Lori can tell you about this, the numbers of people that are speaking about liberty and getting away from the science and trying to convince everybody of the science.
Yes.
Lori, final words before we get out of here.
I was talking with Rhonda Villamont Smith earlier today, and we all get tired. It's grueling at times. You want to just take a break and go to the Bahamas or something. someplace. Are there any free islands anymore?
Yeah.
But we can't.
Yeah.
We just can't.
There's no
Tired
break.
or not, exhausted or not, you can't string a sentence together to save your life sometimes, but we have to stay in this fight because the future of our nation depends on us. The future for the kiddos that are coming up behind us depends on us. So we have to educate, we have to get people motivated, and we have to continue to stand strong because the tyrants are not going to relent.
Well said.
And you mentioned Rhonda V. Smith, and I gotta say she is a silent partner with here. Actually, she helped me paint this background red, and she did the artwork back here, and then helped me translate some of that 3D politics stuff. So, without Rhonda, the lighting and that fine paint job behind me just wouldn't be there.
The green screen.
Hey. Green screen. Get me an artist. So,
Mckay in here too. Mr. Oldham's background set had somebody assisting him with that.
That's right. Yeah.
So, Samuel Adams didn't brew that beer all by himself. So we better get out of here. So, ladies and gentlemen, what else have we got to say before we roll?
I'm full. I can't take
Anybody?
any more deals.
So we want
Join us in Jinx Wednesday evening. Look to my Facebook. I will be putting up the information here in a little bit.
Yep.
So everybody hang in there while I get us out. 3D Politics every Monday night. Don't forget the 3dpoliticslive.com webpage. Get there, and don't forget the mugs are for sale on eBay. 3D Politics on eBay. You can get a mug. My thanks again to our special guest, John Bennett. What a resume, this guy.
That's right.
Semper Fi to him. And John Bennett. Wow. Thanks for being on the show tonight. Also, David Van, thank you for being here with SoonerPolitics.org. David Oldham with ConstitutionalGrounds.com. And Lori Gracey, thanks for gracing us with your beauty and your fine show of courage there at the BA. Everybody, we're going to get out of here. Lori, we'll let you out first. Thanks for being here.
Yes.
There you go. Oldham, you're out of here. We appreciate you being here once again, keeping that constitutionalgrounds.org going. There he goes. And David Van, the man with the plan, takes himself out. Tommy Mckay, your verbal Viking. We'll see you next week.